Jesse Malin, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
This is a cool new club you got here. Bowery Electric, huh?
Yeah.
We are one of the coolest locations like in the world.
Joe Ramone Place, 2nd Street.
You know, site of the valiant fight to save CBGBs, but we didn't quite get there. So, for those of you who missed that, they can come here now and kind of get a whole new vibe going, right?
1 block north.
We are celebrating your new album, which, depending on when you see this, will be out end of April. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's, how many?
This will be the 4th studio album. This is the first Jesse Malin and the St. Mark's Social, me and a band. But yeah, this will be, since Degeneration, the 4th solo record.
And this band will you gonna tour? You gonna try and get out?
Yeah, we start touring the end of April and into May this year with Gogo Bordello, who are also on Side One Dummy Records, the label that is putting out this record. The record's called Love It to Life.
Oh yeah, we should mention that. What is it? Is it a new label?
It's a new label for me. Yeah, the last record was on Adeline, which was Green Day's label, and
right.
This Side One Dummies, they've been around a long time. They do the Warped Tour compilations, and Floggin' Molly, the Gaslight Anthem is on there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they started mostly as a punk rock label, but then they started changing, and the bands that were on the label started asking me to go on the road with them, and it seemed like it was maybe the right time to kind of make that switch and be with them. And I think Green Day was so busy with their stuff, they did a good job with me on Adeline for the Glitter in the Gutter, and then they were just touring so much and doing, you know, the play and doing American Idiot and stuff. So
yeah. Plus they got the Broadway show thing. I'm sure keep you busy, right? The whole, right?
Yeah, that opens here I think this month or something.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the album. The last couple of records, was it different musicians on different songs? You know what I mean?
Some of that, yeah. I mean, last record, Sammy from Hanoi Rocks and the Dolls, Sammy Alpha played on it. This record, I guess, after I did those 3, I did a covers record and a live acoustic record. And then I kind of found myself, after like 7 years of touring, just back in New York. I was kind of broke and kind of questioning what I was going to do. You know, maybe I should, you know, become a comedian or a gynecologist or, you know, open a bar or, you know, something. Yeah. And I just was, you know, trying to figure it out, and I found myself back down here, or staying in a loft on the Bowery that a friend hadn't really rented out yet, and just kind of mixed up. And suddenly I looked out, and it was like there had been, you know, the Whole Foods supermarkets and the galleries and all the fancy stuff, but then things kind of leveled out. The recession that was hitting the country, and there were little ghosts of what it reminded me of when I first touched down here from Queens, New York, on the Bowery, where there was like homeless people and some, you know, people kind of moved away. Maybe the hipsters went to Brooklyn and Queens, where I was trying to get out of, and that was the place to go. So the whole city down here started to just give me flashbacks and started to feel like, you know, there's CBGB's where I grew up, kind of my alma mater, sitting outside drinking 40s and going to hardcore shows and playing there, and then, you know, just rehearsing in these neighborhoods. And so it just started to pop into my head to start writing some songs, and I called in some people that, you know, lived locally, and I wanted to form a band. I wanted to make a record that was more based on a group, more of a rhythmic sound. I'd always liked the way the Clash and early Aerosmith and, you know, bands that put more grooves into their songs instead of just folk songs or pop songs that were bashed away on an acoustic, that there'd be something more going on in the rhythm section. We got some into some bongos and beating on some, you know, toms, and it just kind of evolved from there.
Sounds fantastic. We just heard preview downstairs, which will be attached to this. So was this band on most of the album, or
yeah, the core of this band was on most of the album, and the producer Ted Hutt, who did Gaslight Anthem and did Lucero, he did that down at Ardent in Memphis. And he did a couple records, and we met in a bar and we started talking. He's like, you know, I hear your stuff and your songs are good, but you need to make a record that's really New York and really dirty. I'm like, well, all my records are New York. You know, what do you mean? He goes, no, but it has to be like streamlined. We have to find one sound that kind of goes through this record. And he really encouraged me to make the record fast and cheap. We did the tracks in Greenpoint, Brooklyn at a place called Mission in 3 days. Then we went out to Hoboken to Think Tank Studios, did the overdubs. Before I knew it, we were mixing in LA, and it was just done in more of a punk rock style. And I feel like with this record, you can kind of hear my roots in hardcore with my old band Heart Attack. You can hear Degeneration, and you can hear maybe where I went writing songs as a singer-songwriter or whatever. You can kind of hear I think it's all in there, but it's more distilled. And yet, it's 10 songs. It's really short. I used to have a hard time. You write so many songs, and you get a CD, and you want to put them all out on a record because you can put them on there. And I think people are getting smarter and making records more like the way we grew up with, 5 on a side, or just maybe the attention span is less, or you'd only get paid for 10 songs. I don't know, but the idea of it being short and sweet was something that Ted helped me do, because they're like your babies. You love them all, and it's like, I want to put 23 songs on it.
Yeah.